The push to repeal Australia's net zero target is back in the parliamentary spotlight this morning. Let's bring in Trudy McIntosh. Trudy, this is going to happen every Monday, basically, until the numbers run out of speakers.
Yeah, it's a fascinating part of Parliament, isn't it, now? The Prime Minister essentially, it seems like, sits back with a box of popcorn in his office and allows the political spotlight to be put on his opposition and the push within the coalition to repeal Australia's 2050 net zero target. This is Barnaby Joyce's bill. It's been debated every Monday of a parliamentary sitting week, and it will do so until it actually goes for a vote. So far, the Speaker's dominated by Nationals MPs, 4 Nationals and just 1 Liberal MP speaking in favour of this repeal bill. This is some of the debate this morning.
How about we put offshore wind turbines at North Head or on the Yarra River, or turn those sails on the iconic Opera House into solar panels? Why not do that?
This debate is not about whether you believe in climate change. This is about the economic cost of getting to a position of net zero by 2050.
The rubber will hit the road when this eventually goes to a vote. When this runs out of speakers in favour, the Parliament will then have to vote on it. There's no way this passes given Labor's thumping majority on the floor of the Parliament. But the real interesting conundrum here is what happens to members of the shadow cabinet. There are plenty who don't seem like they support net zero. Andrew Hastie would likely be in that category. But if he is to vote with Barnaby Joyce on the floor, he would have to likely vacate his shadow portfolio. That's why you saw in The Australian this morning this reporting that Barnaby Joyce privately told Andrew Hastie, don't cross the floor on this, that you should stay in the shadow cabinet, that is more important. Others like Jacinta Price too asked about this earlier today on Sky News. What's her advice to Andrew Hastie? Should he decide to remain within the shadow cabinet? She too personally doesn't support net zero, but ultimately for her it's likely not to become a political issue given this bill won't make it to the Senate.
Oh, look, I think, Andrew Hastie is a wonderful contributor. He's a wonderful future leader. He's a wonderful individual. Look, it is obviously for colleagues to determine which way they want to go in terms of this particular issue. I personally am looking forward to the opportunity for our party room to come to a formal decision on this matter. Net zero is destroying our economy.
Opposition leader Susan Lee is committed to this internal review process as being shepherded by the Shadow Energy spokesman Dan Tehan. Now, Susan Lee is ultimately, like so many of her predecessors, needs to find a way to bridge the climate divide within the coalition. It does seem essentially impossible to get those like Barnaby Joyce and Matt Canavan to support net zero regardless of what this review is going to determine. One senior Liberal source, though, Kieran, telling me today that pointing to the history here, the Nationals have been bought off in the past, that when there's been these big disputes, you put a lot of money on the table in a sort of regional funding bill, that has been able to certainly settle some of the problems. Let's see if that same settlement holds this time around, but there's still a long way to go on this.
Yeah, it's going to cost a bit, you would have thought, given the strength of the message coming from the Nats. Thank you, Trudy.